Um, Hi, thank you very much for, being willing to interview with us today. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to learning about the information you have to give us. So, with that said, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Layla. I'm 19 years old, and I'm currently living in Turkey. I'm originally from Uzbekistan, and I needed to find work in order to help my family. And there's barely any work back home. So I'm currently working in Turkey as a domestic housemaid.
Um, okay, so based on a human trafficking report that we were given from 2011, it seems that Turkey is known to be a destination and transit country for many women, men, and children from the former Soviet Union and even other Eastern European countries. So, did you voluntarily migrate to Turkey? And what is your occupation there again?
I did. I voluntarily migrated there, and my family back home is really poor, so we needed the money, and they expected me and my other siblings to find work, and luckily enough, my other siblings were able to find work. My brothers were able to find work back home, but I could not. As I said, it's very difficult, and so I had to leave for Turkey, and so I am working as a domestic housemaid for two different families actually in Turkey.
Okay. Are you aware of, any ways the government of Turkey is trying to combat trafficking? Because in a previous interview, you said you were definitely trafficked over, right?
Yeah, there's been actually many improvements, and the government has improved its recognition of the forced labor and domestic trafficking over the past years.
Okay, that's good. Talk about improvement is always, it's always appreciated, and we're glad to hear that. Something specifically that we were introduced to within our news studio is the International Organization for Migration. So IOM has started an anti-trafficking hotline. Are you aware with that?
So yes, the IOM anti-trafficking hotline 157 is the actual hotline. And the Turkish government actually took a large step in helping to promote this, and they provided, back in 2010, they provided over $150,000 to work on this operation.
Wow. This program was initiated back in May of 2005, right?
Right.
Okay, so it was originally funded by the U.S. government. Is that also correct?
Correct.
Okay, so why do you think it took about 5 years for the Turkish government to get involved?
It's ridiculous that it's been taking that long. Because there are women like me who need the help, and the hotline would be really useful. But plain ignorance and being unaware of the situations.
Okay. Statistics also show that since 2005, when the program first started, 165 victims of trafficking have been rescued through the 157 help hotline. So that's pretty good. How do you feel about this? And is this hotline itself enough to help cut down on trafficking? Like, is 165 victims out of, the 800,000 that are victims every year worth it?
I don't think that enough is being done. I mean, those are great numbers, but it's definitely not enough. There's still a lot of people out there who need help, and the hotline is just not going to cut it by itself. More needs to be done, but as of right now, I really don't know of any other programs that are been going on since I've been part of this organization that has taken me in and educated me a little bit. They've been teaching me things such as learning about the hotline program, but that's about all I know as of right this moment.
Okay, well, lucky for you and lucky for our viewers, we are able to get some more information that we can share.
Okay.
The IOM is focusing on now raising awareness of human trafficking among the legal community, so it's no longer just a help hotline.
Okay.
And so they're training young attorneys by including the revised Turkish Penal Code and the Code of Penal Procedures. This pretty much means that they're giving these attorneys very detailed information about what the law is,
Okay.
so that when a situation arises where there is trafficking and there is, someone being victimized, they can use those laws to help them. And so they're working really hard to establish and train a core group of legal experts on counter trafficking, and then that way they're able to give that legal assistance to trafficked people. They're also trying to help with increasing, identification and investigation to prosecute traffickers, and then also trying to train law enforcement officials and military personnel so that they can know, when something's happening.
And it's good that all these different groups are learning about these things. So that's really been good. So I as you've been telling me, these programs are specific to Turkey, but I know there's trafficking going on elsewhere, and I know friends back home that have been victims of trafficking and going to different places. Are there programs in other countries that there's been work done to help combat trafficking?
So it says here in our reports that the government of Egypt has made some pretty modest progress in enforcing laws against trafficking. So the same report from 2011 that we found out about Turkey, it says that Egypt prohibits all forms of human trafficking through its 2010 anti-trafficking law. So there are penalties from 3 to 15 years of imprisonment, and then really, really high fines. So that's something that they've implemented over the past couple of years that they're hoping to be successful.
Okay, that's good to know. So is the government of Egypt actually doing anything to help victims directly instead of just through law? Are they setting up programs, or much like the help hotline in Turkey that we have? Is there anything else that's being done?
We had a representative from Egypt come in, I believe it was 2 days ago.
Okay.
And they were saying that in December of 2010, the government provided apartments to house victims of trafficking. And the shelter was managed by the IOM organization that you're aware of.
Great.
And it's provided female victims of forced prostitution or labor with medical help, psychological help, legal help, vocational assistance.
I wish I had those programs. I needed them.
Right, I can only imagine. The shelters are small and can only accommodate about 12 victims at a time, though, and we know, that there's way more than that, being trafficked. And it's also only accessible to female victims. So it makes it very difficult for the males, the men who find themselves in, very hazardous conditions due to being trafficked to get assistance. So, in 2010, the government released a comprehensive national action plan to combat trafficking. And this plan pretty much describes specific activities that will be taken by various agencies to improve the prosecution and prevention of trafficking, and also the protection of victims. So, like we said before, with some of the things that the IOM are trying to do, the Egyptian government is trying to develop identification guidelines, training government officials, just like they're doing in Turkey.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, and expanding public awareness. So that's something that they're trying, and it seems to be working out.
Okay, great. So I hope that government actually follows through with what they've said, and hope these actions are actually implemented. I know that a large place for trafficking is also the United Arab Emirates. Is there anything going on there? I've met some people through this organization I'm with right now that have been trafficked there. Is there anything they're doing?
Well, in 2011, the government opened 2 new shelters. The UAE government opened 2 new shelters for victims of trafficking.
Right.
So that's similar to what's going on in Egypt right now. And in 2010, a shelter in Dubai assisted 49 victims of trafficking. And there's also a shelter in Abu Dhabi, which assisted 71 victims.
Great.
So these shelters are able to, victims are able to receive medical checkups, tests, and counseling.
Much like the other ones.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So, there continues to be many programs that are slowly being put into place, and it has to do a lot with pressures from other government as well. Like for example, the United States government puts a lot of pressure on,
Sure.
on some of the countries, and so they're working really hard to try at least to look as if they're helping.
Well, I'm glad that the governments around the world, I guess, so to speak, are finally realizing that this is an issue and trying to do the best they can to help out. And I think most of these things that we've discussed are hopefully, if they are enforced, will make a difference for many of the traffic victims.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad we're doing this interview. Yes, I'm providing you with information, but you provided me with some information. And if we continue to have conversations like this, where we can discuss the different policies, that we want to see implemented in these various countries, it's amazing. What we could potentially do.
Right. I think education right now is the most important part, and what I've learned through the organization, being educated about all this information, and just right now, everything that I've learned has really, it's a step closer to where we can help trafficked victims.
Cool. Well, I hope that you'll be coming back and that we'll be doing work with your organization again, and know that you and the organization always have a place with us here at our company and at our news station. So, cool. Thank you.